Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Boxing Coalition. My name is Cam. Joining me tonight, Daniel Lim and Leon. Hope you guys are well. Leon, start with you. We're just talking off air before we went live, talking about Broner versus Granados, and the fact that you kind of zoned out, and it kind of reflects how the fight was. We kind of expected a lot more. Broner was disappointing. Granados for me was very disappointing. I thought he would be a lot better. So the parts where you were zoned in, your thoughts, Leon?
It wasn't very good. Well, first of all, you got to start by saying that both of them had no business fighting that weight. They both looked sluggish, didn't they?
They did, but I think Granados was given the option of either 147 or no fight. The saying Broner.
Oh yeah, I'm not blaming him. It's Broner, isn't it?
Well, it's Broner. What did we expect? Like he said, they had an illness during camp, but come on, he just wasn't on weight most likely, and thought, okay, let's just change the weight. That's all it is. Like, I don't believe any story about illness during the camp.
Yeah, I don't care either, really, particularly about his stories. It's just him all over. I mean, when's the last time he made 140?
Probably a long time ago. I'm trying to even think.
Long time ago. So what has he been doing with his career in the last couple of years? It's been a mess, and this fight was boring, low output. They were both poor, weren't they?
They were. No, I think.
And I zoned out after 5 rounds. I lost. I had almost zero interest in it.
What are you gonna say, Dan?
Broner is a fucking bum. He's my least favorite boxer right now. I don't even know how this guy still has fans. That's why I'm dying to hear Canadian Jose call in, because if he tries to defend this guy, I'm just going to take a number 2 on him immediately.
But
this guy is a fucking joke.
Danny's a superstar.
He's a superstar. He's sexy. No, this guy is a pussy. He sucks. He fucking sucks.
I don't mind fighters being mental out of a ring and weird and like different, but you got to do something in the ring as well, and that was boring as fuck.
Like, he's not even funny. Like, people try to make him out to be some kind of funny, witty guy, but he stutters on his words half the time. He can barely enunciate what he's trying to say, and half the time his shit doesn't even make any sense. It's mind-boggling to me that this guy continues to get paydays to fight shit opposition. This guy's resume is so shitty that I forgot that he fought Ashley Theophane. I completely forgot about that fight.
Can you remember the things that made him once good at the lower weights? I mean, fast hands, but they weren't fast on Saturday, were they?
The thing is, I always knew he was kind of flawed because I saw that Ponce fight. That was the first fight that I ever saw from Broner. So that actually left me with different expectations than most people did. But he does have very fast hands. Like, let me qualify what I'm going to say, because I'm really going to go on a tirade on him, because I think he's the most privileged and overrated fighter there is in boxing. But he does have incredibly fast hands. That's why I'm actually not one of those people that says if he goes up to 147, he's going to have no shot against top 10, maybe even some guys at the top 5, just because his hand speed is so ridiculous. Like, when he dropped Sean Porter, and I know that fight was at a catch weight, but those are glimpses of just how talented he is in certain aspects. But at the same time, his defense is so poor. His footwork is so poor. He doesn't use a shoulder roll at all. Like, even when he does use it, it's not good, but he doesn't even use it, period, anymore. His reflexes are so shitty nowadays that he's honestly just a come-forward fighter with very little power at that weight class.
He gets manhandled, I think, at that weight class. I don't give him... Against the good guys, I give him, not very much chance. I mean, Porter outboxed him for large parts of that fight.
But I guess this is going to sound crazy, because I'm putting so much of my faith on Broner kind of training harder, because I do think his biggest weakness is his lack of output. Like, if he increases his output by even 50% against Sean Porter, I think he would have a chance against Sean Porter. But obviously, that's a huge fucking if, because this guy doesn't.
That's blind faith. That's blind faith you're taking there.
But I guess that's the reason why I still kind of like rate him decently, is because these are all things that are within his grasp to fix. You know what I mean? It's not like we're praying Amir Khan to have a better chin. Like, this is something that's tangible. But again, this guy is such a bum, and I can't believe like this guy has the audacity to try to fight at 140 again, because in his last fight, I forgot who he fought, but that fight I think went from 140 to 141 and 142 the week of. And he said after that fight that he was never going to try to make 140 ever again in his career.
Yeah. And it was and it was moved down to 10 rounds, so he obviously wasn't in the condition he needed to be in. You know, these are the things that happen that make you say he's one of the most privileged fighters out there, and he is. I mean, what, did he get $1 million for that?
You guys remember that time where I think there was some crazy thing where HBO, I guess, offered him a contract, like a 5-fight contract for like $40 million or something? And my numbers are off, but I do remember, like, back before the HBO, like the Heyman split, like there was some crazy like figure like that out there, and he didn't take it because he
wasn't that with Jay-Z?
Yeah, was it Rock Nation? Rock Nation, yeah.
Rock Nation.
Jesus, and look at where he's at right now.
I bet he regrets not taking that money.
he's making $1 million, which is crazy as it is, but imagine what he would have been making back then if he had agreed upon that.
It's that Cotto money.
It's crazy. And yeah, I mean, regarding the fight itself, man, I've always said it from the jump. To me, Granados is a caveman. I don't like anything he does in the ring. He's honestly like aesthetically the worst kind of fighter that I like to watch, because his technique is awful. I don't know whether he has power or not, because I can even tell because his technique is so poor. Like, you can't generate punching power if your feet are in that poor of a position to begin with. Like, we have no idea how hard he hits, because especially his right hands, like, they're disgusting to look at. You know, and people were like propping up Granados to be some kind of test for Broner. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like,
Dan, some people think he won that fight.
Which is fair. Which is fair,
bad,
but
isn't it?
Broner fucking train. I bet Broner, like I said to you guys a couple weeks ago, man, I saw videos of Broner eating that shitty ass fucking food at the what was the fight at the Barclays a couple weeks ago during the Badu Jack fight. He was eating like the disgusting shit that people cater to those events. Like, he was having like 2 to 3 plates of that stuff like 3 weeks before the fight. I knew this guy wasn't going to be in shape, man. Like, he was eating like chips and guacamole and some fried chicken. I was like, come on, man, this guy, you can't take this guy seriously anymore. You know, but he's one of those guys who paints on 6-packs on his Instagram through all those filters and shit. He's one of those guys, man. Like, who goes to the sauna and says, "Oh, hard work," and then he just like filters out his abs to make it look like he's ripped and shit. And that's all he's good for.
But seriously, what does he do now? Is he going to stay at 147? Because I think he's food. I think, honestly.
Yeah, he literally is food. But
for a lot of good for the fights that he would want to make the big money, he loses all of them.
You know what's crazy is that I know as a podcast we have to discuss this and we have to kind of think about what are the ramifications of this fight. But I'm so frustrated with Broner. I don't think anybody should give him the light of day anymore. You know, that to me is one of my frustrations with him, is people think he's still some kind of star. You know, he's not. He fought on Spike TV, for crying out loud, a couple fights ago. Like, this guy is, I think he's going to be forgotten of. I mean, I don't know. I'd rather see him fight a guy like just Andre Berto and just get it over with, because I'd pick Berto to beat Broner in this situation. I just don't rank Broner anymore.
I'd happily watch the Lamont fight, though, wouldn't you? But are they friends? Yep. Are they friends?
Yeah, Leon. They're friends. They have the same camp. You know, they share trainers, so we can't see that. They're friends.
Because I think Lamont would beat him easy.
Oh, without a doubt, because Lamont's just a full weight class above, and we'll talk about this later, but Lamont is on those TRT chicken nuggets again. We all know that he's taking the testosterone boosters. I mean, he just looks completely different than he did from what I can recall, especially the Matisse fight. So I don't know. It was such a letdown, because I thought Granados was going to be better than that. So, you know, what can you do? What'd you think about Cam? Do you have any 2 cents?
Yeah, I agree with you. Granados was poor for me. the scorecards were kind of all over the place. Like, people had 7-3 to Granados, people had 7-3 to Broner. I personally had it a draw, but I just thought Granados was kind of stumbling forward. He's very wild overhand right. I think he was trying to do the Maidana, what Maidana did against Broner, but like he was like the bum version of Maidana.
Jeez, and that's saying something. A
AB
bum
was
version
like,
of Maidana. What is that?
AB was catching him, coming in with the jab, the kind of long left hook with the half step back was working well for Broner. It's just the output was, like you discussed, wasn't enough. He just doesn't put his punches together enough. He just looks for that right uppercut, left hook, and just relies on those same punches, same combinations over and over again. And I just think that his him using the forearm and the push away, he didn't really get warned by the ref. I think maybe once or twice, but he was using it throughout the fight, and it's an illegal move, and you should get points deducted or whatever if you keep doing it. And he kept doing it, and nothing happened. So that was pretty disappointing. But shit fight overall. Yeah, that's all I really got to say. I don't want to spend too much time on shitting on it, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel bad because this could be like an hour-long show, just considering how shit this fucking card was and just how terrible Broner is. But I really don't have much else to say about Broner either. I think he's the biggest farce in this sport. I mean, we would just talk about his weight issues, let alone. I mean, at least when Canelo does the diva shit and he fights guys at 155, it's negotiated beforehand. So that both parties know to some extent what they're getting themselves into. With Broner, it's just a freak show. And I had a question for you guys regarding the weight change. If Granados had declined that, he would have still gotten paid, though, obviously, right?
It depends what the contract would stipulate, but the way I heard it from
you don't know that, Cam? You don't know what the contract was?
Box Nation were making it come across that he either had to take the 147 offer or no fight, so I would assume that he wouldn't get paid. But also the way it came across is that they're friends. They've like shared sparring camps before as well, so I don't think Granados was too against the fight being at 147. I think he just wanted the opportunity to have a big fight. But yeah, he would have had more of an advantage because he's naturally the bigger guy, so I guess it's difficult to turn the money down. And again, Showtime, it's a big event. I think from what Box Nation was saying as well, this card was free to air on Showtime and also in the States, because I tried looking on Twitter and it was geo-blocked, but I guess if you had a VPN you could still watch it. But yeah, in the States this fight or the card was broadcast on Twitter live, so that was quite a big thing. And I've never seen anything like that before, where a big stateside networker airing big events on Twitter. So pretty refreshing, pretty new, unique thing.
Yeah, but just combine that with one of the biggest turds in boxing. It's not a good combination.
That's true. That is true. But you guys got any other points to shit on him, or should we move on? I think we've shit on him enough, to be honest. Yeah, I'll take that as a hint to move on.
Let's move on.
All right, Dan. Did you catch the Lamont fight against Avanesian?
I did, yeah. Lamont was just too big for him, honestly. I thought Avanesian fought a courageous fight, but I just don't think 147 is a weight class for him. I think if there was a way that he could fight at 140, he's like the opposite of Broner. He's in the opposite conundrum. Lamont was just too big for him, and I think he's on those TRT pellets again because he looked really ripped compared to some of his previous performances. But even then, I still don't really rate Lamont that highly, just because he's such a brute, even though he has, skill sets that he clearly possesses, as he's shown in other fights. And Ken, me and you, we were talking about this over the weekend. It's just, to me, I know it's ridiculous for people like us to shit on trainers, but for me, I just think there's such a body of resume to judge Lamont's trainers on. I think, what's his name? Barry. What's
Hunter.
Lamont's trainer's name?
Barry
Hunter. Because like all of the fighters that I've seen him train, they all seem to have a decent amount of talent, and the same applies to Broner's trainer as well. I mean, you look at a Robert Easter and even Rau'shee Warren to some degree. You know, these are guys that clearly have boxing abilities and athleticism, like Leon loves to say, but they never really utilize it in their fights. They're just pure come forward brawlers. And to me, Lamont he's not going to be at a high level if he continues to fight in that fashion, because other guys are simply just going to be as big as he is, if not bigger, and they're just going to learn how to obviously time him when he's just coming forward to that degree. So this fight really just meant nothing. I know it's a title eliminator, so if he does end up fighting the winner of Danny versus Thurman, which I hope it's Thurman, obviously, because I don't want to see the Lamont rematch again. I just think he's just kind of he's just too basic to win against either of those guys if he fights like that.
Well, it was for the regular, because Avanesian had the regular WBA, even though the WBA are kind of even though they're cleaning house regular. Now and trying to just have one belt. Yeah, he's the regular WBA champion. But I think actually Thurman versus Peterson is a decent fight.
It is, because we saw that Thurman couldn't really handle Sean Porter's basic ass, so I'm sure Peterson will have a decent enough time fighting in that fashion as well. But against a guy like Kell Brook, I'd pick Kell Brook to just make easy pickings off of a guy like Lamont.
I don't know, man. Like Lamont, I do agree that he hasn't moved on. Like we were saying yesterday when we had a conversation, and like you watch Lamont now, and there's not many improvements to Lamont 4 years ago, apart from maybe just stepping up to a weight class. But he does do the basics well. He digs to the body really hard. He's got a good engine. He comes forward. He doesn't get hit too much. He is a decent boxer, but there's not much of a skill set. Leon, you catch this fight?
Yeah, I did. It's really weird. I see a very different fight. I like Lamont, and I don't see him as just this come forward brute that you guys think he is. He did it in this fight. He did it against Danny. He moved a lot in the first half of the fight, and then he stepped up his work and started moving forward. True, I didn't see him just stumbling forward from the first bell.
But in the first 3 rounds, when he was on the back foot, I don't think he was effective, Leon. Like when he was using his jab.
But he did this against Danny, and he scored against him. But what he does do to anyone is he tests their stamina. And he did it to Danny, and by the end of that fight, he was walking Danny down, and he could have knocked him out. And I think he did it again in this fight. So he gives away some rounds, but then at the back end, he's always a fighter coming on strongest. Also, I think if you look at 147, he's possibly got the best inside game out of any of them, because they're all shit on the inside, the top guys. So, I think he beat Danny. I think he beat him easy. And I still think he gives anyone at 147 a good fight, especially as none of them have got particularly good inside fighting. I like him. I mean, he might be roiding
that's like
the...
What about the shorts?
Tits, but and the shorts were short. They were very, very, very short. But no, I like him.
Yo, Lim, you like your short shorts. What did you think?
Yeah, but you gotta be thicker than that to rock those off. You gotta legs.
You have some Bambi legs, didn't you?
You have to have some thigh game.
Literally explode. No, but Leon, you're right. I think I was just judging this fight in a vacuum, but he does. That's the reason why I'm so much more frustrated with him, is that because he actually shows the ability to switch styles and to be, more athletic and more kind of have the ability to kind of showcase different styles even within a round. But the fact that it's either one direction or the other for him. It's almost like he just can't kind of combine the two together in certain spurts where it would suit him much better. That's the frustration that I have with him.
But that's to say that he would be a real elite fighter if he had that. He's at this level where he's a solid fighter and he has good skill sets. We're not saying he's perfect.
Right, but the thing is, I think it's a different criticism than other guys, is because the other guys don't even show the athletic ability to do either. But the fact that he can do both, but just mentally he can't process it together, is my frustration. It's like he fights like a robot. You know what I mean? Like, he's like a Terminator. It's like, oh, Lamont, in round one, you're gonna do this. In round four, you're gonna do that, and you can't switch at all between round or between minutes of that round. Like, you got to do just this or that. Like, I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, he fights to a blueprint very much. But I think again, it just shows how poor 147 is maybe at inside fighting. But I think he's the cutest out of most of them. We saw what happened to Furman when people get on the inside of him. He gets punched in that body and he doesn't like it and he gets on his bike. And is Danny's not an inside fighter, is he? And I think Lamont beat him up in that last fight at the end. I just think he gives a lot of people a good fight. I'm not saying he wins them, but he gives them good fights.
Isn't it crazy, guys? When Lamont fought Matisse, that was at about the time where I thought the 147 division was like on fire, right? I thought it was just stacked from like even 1 to 10. And then, subsequently, when Lamont got his ass whooped by Matisse in the third round, I thought his career was pretty much done. And now he moved up a weight class, and I think agreeably, that he would give a lot of guys, even in the top 5, a lot of issues.
But again, Dad, he got knocked out by Matisse doing the same thing he did to Danny and he did in this fight, where he tries to move for those first three or 4 rounds, doesn't he? And that's what Matisse just closed the distance on him, didn't he? Like, Lamont was moving backwards when he got knocked out.
Man, I'm getting depressed just thinking about Matisse, Leon. Fuck.
Hey.
I mean, that left hook that he knocked him out with, like, right on the forehead, that Golovkin-style left hook, like that was a damn good boxer, man. And, oh, jeez, I'm sad.
Danny snatched that soul, didn't he?
Oh, yes, he did.
But, yeah, I like Lamont. I mean, as in, I'd like to see him in other fights moving forward. Like, I think he would whoop Broner. He would knock Broner out.
Not
knock him out, but he'd stop him. He'd stop him late.
I actually don't know about that, because I actually think Broner's pretty tough, as much as I don't like him.
But maybe not stop through being exhausted as much as anything. Do you know what I mean? Just gassing.
Eating too much food.
Yeah.
Not having a gas tank. Yeah, I can see that. What about you, Cam? What did you think about this fight, just in a more in-depth manner?
It was decent. I thought Avanesyan was disappointing at times. I think his accuracy wasn't great, and his ability to kind of adjust. Like we said, Lamont for the first 3 or 4, he was on the back foot using the jab, and as soon as he started going on the front foot and walking Avanesyan down, Avanesyan didn't really adjust. He just tried to keep up with him, where he's got such a good tank on him, you can't really keep up with him. You have to maybe start boxing him on the back foot, and I don't think Avanesyan had that had that skill in his arsenal. So he just tried to kind of stand there and go toe to toe with him. He had little bits of success here and there, but like Lamont on the inside, even though he doesn't, when you look at Lamont, you think he's going to be slick on the back foot, but he is very effective on the inside. But when you watch him on the inside, he looks like he shouldn't be there for some reason. The way he throws his punches on the inside, it seems like he's uncomfortable, but it's weird. He is comfortable even though he doesn't look it. And overall it was okay. It was definitely better than the Broner fight, and we'll probably get to the Williams and Marcus Brown fight in a minute. But
I'm not sounding like a fanboy, but that was his first fight in 2 years. So what the fuck have they been doing with his career?
Oh, no, he fought Felix.
And then he turned. Did he? When was that though? A year ago?
A bit longer, but for my boy Diaz, Diaz beat Peterson, man. If you go watch that fight, man, he got robbed in that fight.
Yeah, most definitely.
But I agree, Leon. But Bunty was saying that he wanted his body just needed a break, and he wanted to have a break from boxing, which is understandable. It takes a lot of strain on your body.
But also plays into Dan's conspiracy theory.
Of course.
About
TRT.
About the hip shots.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
All right. Anything else regarding this fight?
No.
No.
Yeah, they're just different. They're just mismatches. Both fights were mismatches. I thought the Broner fight was a mismatch because I thought that was a fight where he should have shined against the guy, but the fact that he's such a fat ass and an undisciplined fuck, you know, disallowed him from performing in such a manner. But I honestly thought both fights, even though one was kind of close, the skill discrepancy was just very obvious to me.
Yep. All right. The last televised card I saw was the Marcus Brown versus Thomas Williams Jr. Very weird fight, isn't it, Leon?
Yeah, he had a touch of the old Oliver McCall's, didn't he, about him?
Yep.
He went a bit weird. I mean, he did get punched fully in the back of the head when he was kneeling on the floor, which probably didn't help him. He seemed a bit all over the place after that, and I mean, that was a straight disqualification, wasn't it? I mean, people said the ref did a good job, but did he? I think that was a very, very confused situation where he didn't know exactly what was going to happen.
I don't think the ref knew what he was going to do because there was a point.
No, I don't think he knew what had happened, and he just thought, "Fuck, I better take a point off," because that's a disqualification, isn't it?
Yeah,
has to be.
Especially there was such a delay between him kind of touching down and then Brown hitting him with that long backhand and around kind of at the ear, just behind the ear. And that was instant disqualification. The fact the fight went on was pretty a joke. And then I remember there was a point just after Williams Jr. had maybe his 4 or 5 minutes of recovery time, and then he was talking to the timekeeper about restarting the fight, but in the third round, even though that incident happened halfway through the second, and it's like he didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah, he definitely he didn't seem to know where he kind of was, where the fight and what kind of stage the fight was at, and he kind of mentally checked out after that, Cam. He just went completely crazy, didn't he? Like a caveman, just swinging wildly. It was kind of made it really easy for Brown, because he was missing so wide. It was just so easy to pick off, wasn't he?
Yeah, I remember we were talking about that previous Brown fight where he got very lucky to get away with I think it was a split or a majority win, and in this fight I thought he was going to struggle with Thomas Williams Jr. Even though he's pretty basic and he kind of, like you said, head down swings away, both being southpaws. But I think Williams is the guy that can't fight another southpaw, because if you look to the losses he's had, one was Campillo, where he got that cut and he kind of just mentally just checked out and just couldn't continue. And he had that heart-to-heart with Teddy Atlas because it was on ESPN. That was a bit of a weird moment. And then obviously he lost to Stevenson, which is no shame, man. Stevenson's such a big puncher, and he had a bit of success in that fight as well when he was just trying to go toe-to-toe. But yeah, mentally, maybe it was just a shot that just scrambled his brains, as our Scottish friend would say. But he definitely looked weird after that. He was kind of always saying something to the ref. Even when he was getting knocked down, he was kind of doing stuff. But he's a weird character. He just seems not to be all there at times. He checks out in fights, and Brown impressed me though.
He was complaining about being pushed and stuff, wasn't he?
Yeah,
but he was also throwing punches where he almost turned his back. He was swinging so wildly.
Yeah, very very weird fight. But Brown, I don't know with Brown now. That shitty performance he had now, I don't know if that was just a one-off, because he's definitely got some power in it, Leon.
Oh, he can punch, and he was throwing his shots really nicely, but the guy was coming forward so wildly that it was kind of easy for him. But he still looked good, but we just don't know what the outlier is yet, do we? I think we need
this
guy was so weird.
Yeah,
I feel like this guy William, he lost it as much as anything, or gave it up, just gave it to him almost on a plate,
Yeah,
I'd love to see Brown versus either of Gavaznich or our boy Beevil.
That'd be a great fight. It's interesting you mentioned Beevil. The people in the chat know how much of a fan you are, and he's fighting this Thursday, actually, Dan.
What? I just heard his wife gave birth to a newborn, so congrats to Beevil for that, but I didn't know he was fighting.
Yep, congratulations to Beevil for the birth of... Is it the second child now, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, second child. Yep. Who's he fighting?
I'm just checking it now. He's fighting Robert Berendich in Russia, 12-rounder for his interim WBA light heavyweight title. 2-star on Boxrec.
Oh, cool. Nice.
You didn't catch this?
Yeah, regarding I didn't. I saw the incident though. I saw the punch in the back of the head, and to me, he was probably concussed at that point. Honestly, like getting hit at that part of your head is the worst place to get punched. I mean, there's no way that the guy was thinking straight. I mean, like you mentioned before, he's already a very whimsical person as it is, and to try to manage himself cognitively after that, I can't imagine his senses were all there. And I feel bad for Williams, man, because he might be done for good. Like, I've always subscribed to the theory that once you get damaged that badly and fights in the manner that he has, considering the Adonis fight and this fight, like, it's really hard to bounce back, just from like a mental perspective. Like, once you get hit in his next fight with a good shot, like, he may just not ever be the same again. And I never thought he was that good of a fighter to begin with, but I can't imagine him fighting all that much longer, especially considering some of the damage that he's just taken in these past 2 fights. It's just pretty hard to look at, honestly.
Yep. Yes, took
because Stevenson worked him, man. That left hand, he fucking destroyed him with that shot. So, yeah, his brains might be scrambled for good.
Yep. All right, that was all already. So I did catch the Roy Jones Jr. fight. Don't ask me why. I know I got too much time on my hands, but there's nothing really to say, man. Even Roy said afterwards. Roy won. Bobby Gunn basically kind of quit after. I think he had suffered a broken nose. Jones hit him with a great shot. Kind of double jab, right hand, left hook, and it was right hand that did most of the damage. And then after that, in between rounds, he quit. But one interesting thing, and I'm happy he said it, that he thinks that it's going to be his final year in boxing, which is obviously way, way, way overdue. But I'm glad that he's thinking about retiring, man, because it's a shame. It's a shame when these kind of legends go on, and it's like they just ruin their legacy, and you don't remember them as the great guys they were. You remember them as like the old guy he became.
I think Roy just might be broke. Like, I've heard a lot of things just about his tax situation, and so I think the only reason why he's fighting is just he doesn't have any money, which is really unfortunate considering how old he is.
I don't know. When I was younger, I remember watching an episode of MTV Cribs, and he was on it, and basically he opened a door and he had a basketball court in his house, and I thought, when you're spending money like that, you better keep earning it because it's going to go quite quick.
Yep.
Dan,
yep.
do you know what MTV Cribs is? Because you're quite a lot younger than me.
Are you serious, man?
I'm joking.
Are you serious?
Are you serious?
I used to always buy just like fake Cristal bottles from eBay and just put them in my fridge. So if anybody wanted to come over, I could say, this is, my refrigerator where we got the Cristal, and then I take them up to my bedroom. This is where the magic happens. You know what I mean? And lessons to all the guys out there, that's probably the reason why Shane Mosley's still fighting. Never marry an Asian woman, because they will take every single dime that you have. Trust me, I know. Just don't marry them, guys. I know it may be trendy nowadays, and that may be the thing to do, but just don't do it.
Yeah, great advice there from Daniel. Okay,
Daniel sounded like Angel Garcia.
Hey, but we do not smell like cat piss, all right? I guarantee that. We smell a lot better than that.
All right, anything else we got in this card, guys?
Nah.
All right, I was hoping Naota would be on for this because I think you guys haven't seen this fight, these 2 fights, so I'll just quickly go through them. Week before this, Bounce TV, that great channel that we were discussing. Rau'shee Warren versus Zanit Zakhayanov. It wasn't the fight I was hoping it would be. I thought it might be a bit more of a war. I again had it a draw. I thought it was a very close fight, a lot of swing rounds in it. First round was really good. It was quiet for the first maybe like 60, 90 seconds, and then Warren got those 2 knockdowns. And I kind of thought when I saw that it might be early night. Maybe Zakhayanov just can't take a punch. Maybe he can He can put the hurt on people, but not take it himself. But he came back into the fight decent. Now Warren, a bit like Broner, man, just like too many single shots and just like 1-2s, not enough putting punches together, 4s and 5s, and I think that's why Zach and I have got back into the fight, man, because he was just kind of going forward and Warren was just holding way too much. That was a big pet peeve of mine. Any opportunity, like Warren would just grab hold, and it was a bit of Zakanaev's own fault because he was kind of leaping in with these overhand rights, and it sounds stupid, but his body was in a position to easily hold on to, because when he was throwing, his torso was so easy just to kind of grab hold on and just engage a clinch, and the ref was awful, man. The ref only gave him a stern warning for clinching and holding in the 12th round, and he did it throughout the fight. Warren did it throughout the fight, didn't really get any verbal warnings until the last round. I would have given him like maybe 2 point deductions up to that point. I think he got very lucky on that point. But Zakanaev wasn't that impressive either, man. He was like coming forward, but he was a bit basic, man. It reminded me a bit of Granados this weekend. He just like coming forward.
I was just gonna say, Cam, they're like mirror images of each other. Except Zakanaev has more power, obviously, but
yeah.
But still, yeah, just the skill discrepancy was so obvious. Like these to me are the most frustrating fights. Is like when one guy is so much better than the other guy, just in terms of a skill perspective, but he just doesn't have like the mental acuity or the physical or like the stamina to really put it on the other guy. Like that, those fights just frustrate the hell out of me.
Yeah. And then it even showed at the end when the scorecards were announced, and there's a camera view of Ricky Hatton and Zakanaev standing together, and they read the last scorecard out, and Ricky's like, "Oh no, this is hometown cooking." They're giving it to the champ, the hometown guy, and it took a second for him to recognise that his man won, and he was like, Zakanaev looked at Hatton, and Hatton had his hands up, and they were like, "Oh shit, we won!" But I don't know. It wasn't the fight me and Naota were hoping it was going to be, but it was decent. But props to Zakanaev going over there, getting a strap, even though straps don't mean too much these days. It's good for him. He's put the work in. He moved from his hometown. I think he lives in Hyde, which is not too far away from me. It's like maybe 5 miles away from me and away from your family. It must be tough just trying to live the boxing lifestyle, trying to become a world champion, and he's done that, man. So big props to him. And the main fight.
Yeah, he's so upright, Cam.
Exactly.
Warren is.
Oh, what stand?
Like his stance, he's just so upright.
Yeah, and like we were saying the week before, like he pulls back in straight lines, and he was doing that against Zakanaev. And all Zakanaev was doing is kind of leaping in with the left hook and the right hand, and he was getting caught. And he did do the shaking his head like, "No, I didn't get hit," and he clearly did get hit. So I think he didn't do it too often though. So I think I won it on the under, to be honest.
I mean, how the hell do you go to the Olympics 3 times and you still have just such flaws technique-wise? Like, what the fuck is that?
It just shows that the States have not got guys at that weight class.
Oh, hell yeah. We must suck ass. Jesus. I heard Naota got hurt those 3 times, so that's the only reason why Warren made the team. But nonetheless. Yeah, we can move on, Cam.
Yeah, the main fight on that was Robert Easter Jr. defending his IBF strap for the first time against Cruz, and he was good towards the end when he started putting the punches together. But I don't know if the atmosphere got to him because the crowd was excellent. I think he was the first champion in that town, Toledo, where he's from, and they really came out in force. The crowd was excellent. It looked like a kind of UK type of crowd. Good banter, good atmosphere. Almost every seat was taken. And I think maybe the crowd got to him a bit, because early on he was kind of feeling it out. Just a lot of jabs, a lot of 1-2s, but no punches together. And when he did start doing that, I think it's Dad's his main trainer, and later on in the fight, it was Dad was saying start putting the punches together, and that's when he started dropping Cruz, and almost like he was going to stop him at the end of the fight. Cruz kind of just about got through it, got through the 12 rounds. But I think Easter would probably most be upset with his performance. I think maybe he could have done a bit more. Should have really stopped the guy maybe mid-round, 7 or 8, something like that. But decent first defense, and let's hope some of these 135 guys start using him. And he's saying that he's not scared of anyone. He wants to fight Mikey next or fight another champion. So let's see if that happens. That does bring the best out of you sometimes when you're fighting another top guy rather than some type of journeyman or just an easy. I think most people expected Cruz, and I think Naoto said it 2 weeks ago that he thought that he was made for Easter, and Easter, should have took him out and been a big homecoming fight. So yeah, let's hope Mikey fight, maybe Flanagan in the future or Linares, whoever. Let's have some good unifications and lightweight and let's have a little tournament at lightweight, something like that. That's what we need, man. We were talking about 147 for so many years that it's the best division. Only slowly started getting some of the fights we need. So let's hope that 135 doesn't take too long where we get some of these big fights. And that was really about it. Just on, it's not Box Nation's fault, but this Bounce TV card, I don't know. We just had that one weirdo commentator, Leon, who just goes on, and it's quite fucking...
Oh, he's the worst.
Yeah, quite annoying. And in between rounds, and also during the fight, Leon, they just went to this wide camera view, just like...
Yeah, that dodgy international feed.
Yeah, this wide camera view. Even during the round, Leon, where it's like... You don't mind it in between rounds when, maybe Bounce TV have gone to a break, so they just go to this wide view. But during the fucking fight, like, you just go to this long view, look like you're watching the fight from the nosebleed seats. It was really cheap and, like, I don't know, man.
And was Bunce talking over those bits, or no one talking over?
Well, on the Bounce one, it was just the Bounce feed. No one was in the studio. It was only this weekend where, like, they had Bunce in the studio and stuff like that. So
weird.
Yeah, it was pretty shoddy, to be honest. If PBC's not on the main channel, some of their production value is shit. Fair enough, maybe it's just international feed, but do something about it because it reflects your brand.
But it's probably their point is they're selling it to the other the other station,
so it's
and
their
they expect them to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, that's fair. And also, like, if you think about it now, I didn't really expect Box Nation to pick up that Warren fight and stuff. So
that was a bit last minute as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, so to have it part of our subscription and HD and stuff, we can't really complain.
No, we can't. So stop complaining.
Okay, I take everything back that I just said. But yeah, let's move on. There's some really interesting news being announced the last few weeks. Today was the Scott Quigg stuff, so let's get into that and then we'll talk about Brook later. Dan, do you think Scott Quigg's going to open a chippy on Santa Monica Boulevard?
A what?
A chippy. A chippy is like
a
chippy is a fast food shop that sells like fish and chips and sausages. And
stuff. Yeah. I mean, I hope so. I mean, I think that'd be pretty cool. Maybe we can get Ricky Hatton to open one up nearby as well. Yeah, I hope, Freddie. Is this already a done deal? Because I feel like that would be a major hit to the wildcard brand. We already got Jesus Cuellar, who already diminished it, and we don't need another bum to join our ranks and belittle our name and value that much more.
What's going on? Like, Dan, who's took the biggest L? Joe Gallagher or Freddie Roach?
Come on, man. Freddie, you can't compare those two. How dare you? I know Freddie's had a rough time, but to compare Freddie to Joe Gallagher...
No. In the sense, Dan, in the sense that has...
Who looks worse? Who looks worse in this deal? Who looks worse?
Yeah, who looks
Freddie
worse?
Taking him or Joe losing?
Yeah, I think you always have to go with Joe, right? No matter what the situation is.
Correct.
By default, just go for Joe Gallagher.
Yeah. No, but this is weird to me because Joe and Freddie actually have a decent relationship. Like, Joe usually brings out, or at least from what I can remember a couple of years ago, he would bring his entire stable pretty much to the wild card just to train you for like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I remember.
So I wonder what that relationship and no, but nobody's gonna save Scott Quigg, man. That guy, he's just a bum. like technically speaking, I mean, I don't know what you can really add to his game to make him a competitor. I mean, even at 126, for crying out loud, you know, I mean, like his one advantage at 22 was his size advantage, but at 26, like I don't feel like he has much to fall on.
I was interested to see your response because I thought, will you kind of defend the wild card and say, oh, you know, but you shit on Quigg so much in the past that I guess it's like the point of no return. You cannot turn the other direction, could you?
Oh, absolutely not, man. Scott Quigg is. There's no redeemable trait about Scott Quigg, in my opinion. So I just think it's like buying broken goods. You know, it's like I don't understand why Freddie would do this. Just because I don't think it really. He's not really like a payout kind of person either. You know, and I mean, what is the expectation from here on out that he's going to fight domestically, or like I don't know what the plan is with Quigg.
Me and Leon were just talking off. As a Freddie type of boxer, though, like if you look at kind of Cotto style, and Freddie has done pretty decent with Miguel Cotto. Do you think you could kind of add anything to Scott Quigg's game?
Yeah, I mean, I do, but the only reason why I say that is because the baseline is Joe fucking Gallagher. You know what I mean? It's like a girl going from a person who always treated her like shit, and then just going to someone who doesn't beat her up all the time. You know what I mean? It's like not that much of a comparison to start with. But I do think he can get better. It's going to take time. Because the thing about Joe Gallagher is that it's just completely the most basic rudimentary type of boxing there is, right? It's just a peekaboo guard and just throwing punches whenever the other guy isn't punching. You know, Freddie, you know, for all the flaws and criticisms that he has, what he does do is more kind of skill based, and that his offense is a lot more pivoting, and it's a lot more kind of, you know, cutting in and out and throwing punches off pivots, which is something that a lot of people, quite frankly, like aren't very good at, honestly, especially nowadays. Like if you watch Freddie or his guys teach, you know, people mitt work, there's a huge adjustment period. Like usually it takes a couple of weeks at a minimum to get used to that kind of output. So, you know, if he listens and he's a decent kind of boxer in terms of a mental standpoint, he might be able to get better. But like I said, you know, Scott Quigg doesn't seem like the most intelligent of people, so I don't know how he's going to pick up on that.
Leon, your thoughts about this interesting random news?
It's a beautiful thing. You know, Scott Quigg's trying to, you know, kind of, you know, see a different part of the world, you know, living that LA lifestyle. I think it'll be good for Quigg, you know, broaden his horizons, go and see some art, be an extra in a TV film. I don't know what he's doing going out there. He's not made to live in LA. The man's a simpleton.
Is he going to bring his mom?
I don't know. It could be like a really weird kind of. It could be a really weird rom-com. Quigg and Frampton, Quigg and Roach, couldn't it? Like a Netflix original. Weird
Leon, I could see Quigg being one of those guys you see on a Saturday night on Hollywood Boulevard, just kind of straying around like an idiot. And he's like one of those guys you see at 3 a.m. on the strip. Like, what are you doing here? Like, do you have somebody that can take you home? Are you by yourself? Like, what's your deal? You know, just he looks like a tweaker to me. And who knows? Who knows?
Give him a year and he'll be the Spider-Man out there, or like Superman, or one of those guys that stands around. The Elvis.
Yeah.
My mom's investment.
Oh man, I feel bad. I still remember the Frampton quick build-up. One of my favorite parts of that is when he just goes back to his high school and he's like looking around and he's like, "Yeah, this is where, you know, I didn't graduate, and you know where I flunked all my classes." And that's how I'm going to remember Scott Quigg for the rest of my life.
The academic failure.
Picture. Yeah, and the infamous picture with his jaw broken after the Frampton fight. Those are two things that I'll hold on to the rest of my life.
What happens, Dan, if you're running some steps and you bump into Quigg? Will you call him a bum?
I'll push him off the stairs.
All right, Leon, let's get into this now. A lot of people are thinking that Kell Brook should get an awful amount of credit for taking his mandatory against Errol Spence Jr.
Well, first of all, it's a good fight.
Definitely.
So I'm happy that the fight's happening. So he gets just as much praise as anyone else who'd step into the ring to fight, but no more. Because the idea of praising a world champion for defending his belt, then what's the bare minimum if it's not defending his belt? So the standard, this is Eddie Hearn, he's done this. Eddie Hearn has slowly lowered the standards of boxing that we get on our regular Sky. You know, your regular Saturday night Sky. He's dropped the standard so low that when something like this happens, we're expected to be whooping and hollering and going, "Oh, thank you, Eddie, thank you. Oh, well done, Kelf. You know, well done for taking your mandatory." The same mandatories that they were talking about last year, you know, since they beat Porter, going, "Oh, look, you know, sorry, we don't want to fight Jojo Dan, but we have to because it's our mandatory." So they were using that as an excuse for poor fights back then, but now they want us to heap praise on him.
To your point about where the level is, though, like sooner will we have to give people props for just like going to the gym to train? If we're going to start giving props to taking your mandatory, like, oh, props for going to the gym and doing some bag work today.
I know, and then you get this shit, right? When you get people on Twitter and stuff, and people, and like, especially, I've been really disappointed in the kind of more established press, boxing press.
Established?
Yeah,
Can you explain, Leon?
People who have full-time jobs at places like magazines and newspapers, and then of course there's all the shit you get from Sky, but we expect to get fucking that Sky Boxing Twitter to just dump shit and loads of shit on us about it. But these other guys who are saying he's got balls of steel for taking this fight, but this is a fight that has to happen because whatever we think about, you know, the ranking systems, Spencer's earned his right. So they've had bad fights previously, but now he's got a good fight in a mandatory position. He's now the man who's, you know, this is something that's to be congratulated or overly congratulated. No, it's just doing your job.
Yeah.
It's just being a world champion. Being a world champion comes with some fucking responsibility, or is meant to. So fucking just do your job.
Yeah. Dan, I think to put what Leon's in his perspective, there's a respected boxing magazine in the UK called Boxing News, a weekly magazine, and they've got a front cover with Kell saying "Balls of Steel, Kell Brook accepts the challenge of Errol Spence Jr." And it's like, well, that's what you're supposed to do. You want to be a world title, you got a mandatory, you got to face him. Why are you making such a big deal of it?
This is the same guy that's a month and a half ago he couldn't get up for.
He's not a big name.
Remember that? Not a big name, couldn't get up for. And now he wants us to all fucking, you know, run around letting off fucking celebration cannons and fucking glitter and shit everywhere. No, just do your fucking job. It's on pay-per-view. You're getting paid again. You get fucking Johnny Nelson talking shit going, what was he saying about Errol Spence being a good up-and-coming fighter? But, you know, would he step into the ring with a Golovkin? No. Yeah, no, he wouldn't. He's not a fucking idiot who fights 2 weights above where he fucking should be. That's why you wouldn't get in the fucking ring with him, Johnny. And then you get people tweeting montages of 3 punches he landed on Golovkin, going, look, Spence needs to know he's a bad man. It's like, look, come on. I like Brook. I might even pick Brook in this fight if he makes the weight properly. But this is exactly what we want from him, and this is the minimum we should expect from him. He's been on fucking Easy Street. He fought dog shit, and then he got paid a lot of money to fight in a fight that he shouldn't have been in, and he got well rewarded for this. This is his first proper fight since Porter. So no, he's not going to get a fucking heap load of praise.
Dan, you got any thoughts?
You're getting the next boy. No, I agree 100% with what Leon said. The two things are they don't have to be mutually exclusive, right? Like him versus Kell Brook can be a fantastic fight, but at the same time, like Leon mentioned, by no means should we give a pat on these boxers' backs for fighting mandatories that they're supposed to fight. Hence the term mandatory. That means that you are required to face that person, and at the same time, you can't use that as a crutch to fight shitty ass opposition. Your previous 3 out of 4 fights, and then now use it as an excuse not to fight somebody. That's just the definition of hypocrisy.
Yep.
And can I also?
But that's it. I'm actually picking Brook in this fight. I was leaning towards Spence for a long time, but I actually think Brook is going to beat him.
Well, Leo, we were saying a few weeks
healthy.
ago, like, even though I'm not a fan of Brook, this is a very good fight, very tough fight, 50-50 fight. Maybe, even advantage with Brook, just because you could say, okay, he's probably fought the better opposition, where really Spence's best win's probably Algeria, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, and that's a good win, and he smashed him to bits, so it's a good win. So, and again, I just want to add, after what I just said, I'm over the moon this fight's happening. It's a really, really good fight. So I'm not down on the fight, I'm just down on the shit that came with it. Fight is fantastic, and it's a 50-50 fight. I know people are saying, oh, well, he's got to cut this weight. But it's not like he went up to middleweight and got all ripped. So it's not like he's got to lose a lot of muscle, is it? I think I heard Brian say Brook was probably fighting at his, a kind of walk-around weight when he fought Golovkin.
Yeah,
close-ish.
Just didn't cut.
Just didn't cut.
I'm just a little bit more skeptical, unfortunately. I just think, especially because Kel's not a young guy, is he? What is he, 28, 29?
No, but if he's been thinking, he's always been thinking, it's been a bit of a red herring, this 154. He's obviously always been thinking he's coming back down to 147 because he was after Khan. So if he's been planning for this since the Golovkin fight and he's been training to it, it shouldn't be impossible for him to get down there.
That's fair. For me, I'm just a little bit more skeptical. I just think, the body's such a hard thing, a hard thing to manage properly. And, once it becomes kind of comfortable, it's not like he went from 147 to 154. He went from 147 to 160, just to add to your point, Leon, that was just an incredibly stupid move to begin with. But I don't know, his body, I don't know if it responds in the same way. But let's just put that to the side. Let's not worry about that until it actually happens. But if he is healthy, I would pick him to beat Spence, because Spence is very wide open when he fights, man. He's not defensively sound, and it's really hard to be defensively sound when you're that offensive minded. When he fights, he puts everything in all of his shots. And when you put that much kind of weight on your front foot, it's really, really hard to be defensively technically sound.
And one thing that Brook does have is that he's got a good heavy jab. So if you're coming forward, putting all your front, and that keeps hitting you, it's going to, disrupt what you're planning on doing, isn't it? But, I just think it's a 50-50 fight.
I think it should be 55-45. I think Kel should be favored, honestly.
He probably is over here.
Where is the fight going to take place at the O2?
They're talking about Sheffield, aren't they, Cam?
Yeah, so Sheffield has an indoor arena, but I think they're talking about one of the football grounds. So I don't know how well Cal sells, though, to be honest. But I'm sure
it'll have to be Bramwell Lane because he's United, isn't he?
Sheffield United.
Yeah, he's at Bramwell Lane.
But Hearn can sell shit to anyone, so I definitely think that stadium will be full, regardless.
Yeah, and we all know that not Kel, but Errol's just a really, vociferous, very promotable type of guy. So I'm sure he'll bring the crowd out in droves on that night.
All right. Anything else regarding these two dudes?
Do you think there needs to be? There's no drug testing, is there? Supposedly.
And let's leave it that way, because let Errol get be juiced and let Kel take whatever diuretics he has to make the weight. I'm okay with that.
All right, let's move on. Leon, some sad news over the weekend. Michael Watson was it attempted carjacking and disgusting.
Absolutely disgusting. That's where I used to live around there, Chingford. I think that'll get sorted out before the police get involved. Would be my gut feeling.
Yeah, I hope so.
Knowing that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to,
Just for anyone that's listening that doesn't know what happened, Michael Watson He was travelling with his carer in a car, and there was a attempted carjacking. I think they sprayed him with some substance in their faces, mace possibly, and pulled him out the car, dragged him out the car. And from what I read, one place I read they stole the car, another place I read they just fled the scene. So I'm not actually sure if it was a successful carjacking. Not that I'm interested in that. I just hope that Michael and his carer recover. And just disgusting, to be honest. And like Leon
fucking
says,
horrible, man.
I hope the streets sort it out, as we say.
I think there's a very good chance they will, knowing that area. But yeah, no, it's a real shame. You know, he's one of my favourite. He's one of the first guys I ever saw fight. I'm a big fan of him.
Yep. All right. Any other news you guys want to pick up on over the last 2 weeks? I know we were off last week, so the main was. Go ahead.
So in breaking news, Billy Joe Saunders still doesn't have a fight, does he? So, is it going to be Golovkin? That's what everyone keeps saying, but you don't hear anything.
It'll be Golovkin, and then you'll find out it's some bum.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just ongoing that bullshit. How is he still a world champion, Cam?
We're an organisation.
How has he not been stripped? I mean, I don't know, but and then what about the ghost of Kiko Martinez going to Leeds?
I like Josh, man, but why are you fighting Kiko? I love Kiko. He's a little warrior, man, but he's shot now, man. He's a
little warrior at bantamweight.
Yeah, he's at a weight class he shouldn't be, and he's just being starched out by too many guys now. It's like you need to just hang it up.
He's starting to become Vic Darcini, isn't he? Oh, Vic fighting at weights he shouldn't be at.
Getting starched by everyone, yeah.
But the worst thing is that the Warrington thing, you might not get stopped. You might just get, you might just get punched a lot, which could be even worse, couldn't it?
I actually think Warrington won't stop him.
You don't? No.
No. Warrington doesn't always sit down on his punches, and he's not really a big puncher anyway. And
no, that's what I mean. He might take a lot of shots.
Unfortunately, he probably will. He'll probably just take loads of headshots, and like you said, multiple concussive shots are worse than maybe one big shot that just stops you. So,
because I'm not even saying that Warrington. I don't think Warrington is as good a fighter as Kiko once was. Do you know what I mean? I think it's just going to be a size thing.
It's a disappointing fight, especially BT trying to get on the scene with Box Nation and that. I think they could have done a bit better with the matchmaking.
I think there's a few guys in that. There's some people. There's some kind of gatekeepers around in that division, isn't there? Surely.
But even I think Warrington's ready just to be kind of thrown in there with someone and just go overseas. I know Frank Warren's always been one to bring the champion over here and give your guy the advance. Give him the upper hand, but. I think sometimes you just have to send the guy over and see if he sinks or
But
swims.
you're not going to risk him, is he? They don't often risk ticket sellers, do they?
That's true. And especially with him just signing him, you doubt that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. So I guess Kiko is a name that they can send out in a presser that says that he's fought, he's fought Quigg, Frampton and Leo Santa Cruz, hasn't he, at that weight? So it looks good on paper, if you're launching it on BT.
Yeah. And Warren was already talking about Ellen Road and stadium fights, and I'm thinking they're just jumping on that fucking bandwagon that Eddie Hearn was on as well. Sometimes it's...
Can we just fucking stop this fucking stadium fight? This shit.
They are shit
go
stadium
to them,
fights.
They're shit.
The views are always shit. There's too many people. Most of them are casuals. It's like stadium fights are usually shit.
And then the thing that bugs me, and then alright, it's one thing saying, stadium fight for Joshua. It's even one thing saying a stadium fight for Warrington because he sells tickets and he's the only fighter in that town. But when you hear fucking Paul Smith saying that Callum Smith is going to fight Andre Durrell at Anfield, you think, oh, for fuck's sake, that family, man.
The sad thing is, it'll probably happen though, Leon.
Oh, it can't. They don't sell them. They don't move enough.
No, but it'll be like
can't they just have it in the... good arena rather than a shitty stadium.
It'll be like the Bellevue fight. It'll be just on one corner of the stadium.
It'll be in the car park.
And then some other band will be playing on the other side.
Yeah. Getting value for money.
And you can like switch. You can watch Radiohead, and then you can just switch to the fight whenever you want to. That'd be a pretty good deal. I would probably fly over for that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's funny. But another news. I know this is kind of meaningless, but Canelo and Chavez had their first presser today, and I only bring that up because just the height discrepancy is just so startling.
Yeah, I
saw that picture. Yeah.
He's like 5 inches taller than Canelo.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He looked big, didn't he, Chavez?
Yeah.
I don't think he looked out of shape. I'm not saying he looked fat, but
he didn't.
Next to him, he looked good. To be fair.
And I know this fight is such a joke, and I trust me, I fucking hate fights where you have to make a prediction when it's predicated on something like if he's healthy. You know what I mean? Like when you have to qualify something like that. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Like it's so absurd. But at the same time, I'm going to do it anyways because that's the only way that you could partially justify this fight. If Chavez is, decently healthy, like 80 to 90%, this could be a fun fight just in the sense that I don't see Chavez getting knocked out if he's, remotely healthy. I think this will be a very fun, kind of just like an all-out type of a war. And, one that Canelo will win, but I still think it's entertaining. But, yeah, it's just kind of, it's a carnival show. And the presser kind of just reinforced that to me. Like when I saw it, it just looked like something so foreign, like something that somebody on Twitter just kind of made up.
Leon, Dan knows my view on this, but what's your opinion? I'm just like, fuck this fight, man. I think this fight's bad for boxing, but
I think this fight's dog shit. But I know I'm going to crumble and be excited in that week before it. Because if Chavez, if there's any chance he makes it in any, like Dan said, halfway decent shape, it could at least be fun. But, it doesn't really mean anything, does it?
I think if Chavez makes the weight, he's going to be drained as fuck, and he'll just be like Angulo, just being a punch bag taking shots.
That's fair, but he's just so much bigger. And I know that doesn't mean that much, but he really is a lot bigger than Canelo.
It's just a big punch bag?
Yeah, but it's one of those punching bags where, like, after 2 rounds, your arms get sore. Cam? Like, there's a bag at the wild card that's like 300 pounds. And I hate doing that bag because after 2 rounds, my arm hurts.
You're not working hard enough, Dan.
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. But I don't know. The tickets for this fight went on sale this past, I think, Sunday. And from what I've heard, the tickets are doing very well in terms of it's kind of like the sell rate. And the tickets are quite expensive. So it is doing well.
It is doing well, do you say? Yeah.
The cheapest tickets that you can buy for this fight, I think, are like $350.
So what's the finalized venue then, Dan?
T-Mobile in Vegas.
Okay.
Yep. I can't wait, man. I already booked my room for 2 nights on Friday and Saturday. So, geez, I cannot wait. And unfortunately for you, Cam and Leon, well, not Leon, but Cam, I don't know if you guys will be accepted into this country or not, but fingers crossed.
Not under your new president's regime.
Yeah, exactly. Alternative facts, as they like to say.
Yeah. All right. I just quickly want to touch on this because it's a rumor I've heard, but Khan versus Pacquiao in the UK in May. Go, Dan, go.
But I heard it was Khan Pacquiao in Dubai.
Either let's just not talk about the venue or the country, but what do you think as a fight?
I think Pacquiao murks him.
See, like I actually don't mind the fight because, like, I prefer that.
No, me too.
I prefer that over either. Jeff Horn. Is that fair? Like the whole Jeff Horn, like negotiations and talk about like that was just a waste. Yep.
That's like back to my initial point about Gallagher versus Freddie Roach. Like, of course, anything looks good against Jeff Horn, but you know what though? I'm gonna say something that you guys probably aren't gonna agree with, but I think the one aspect of Pacquiao's game that he's actually kind of gotten better at over the past couple of years is his counterpunching ability. I think that's something that's actually quite underrated about Pac. I think he actually does throw really good counter punches, especially his step back counter left hook. Like he doesn't throw it often, but when he does, it's something that I really really admire. And I think Khan is just going to present himself with so many opportunities to land big shots as the aggressor, which is something that Manny hasn't really been able to seize too much. And again, back to Khan for all of his speed and all of his athletic abilities. I think Khan is going to have success early against Pacquiao, and it's going to be a close fight. But just from a timing standpoint, he's just so easy to time. And I think Manny is good at timing his punches nowadays, and I could see Manny knocking him out.
Just quickly, Dan, to your point about the Pac becoming a better counter puncher over the last few years, do you think that's coincided with him losing some of his output? Like he's not really throwing the amount of punches he was throwing before.
Absolutely, 100%. And Manny. I think Manny's a pretty good boxer, man. Just from a purely technical standpoint, I love a lot of the shit that he does, and like I said, again, he doesn't have the ability a lot of times to actually showcase his counter punching abilities because his opponents are usually drastically taller than he is, and they don't really they're not usually the aggressors in the fight. But again, with Khan, I just think he just gets so undisciplined at times that I just feel like there's going to be a lot of openings for Manny.
Yep. Leon, I know it's early, a lot of rumours, but your initial thoughts?
Kind of list under things that won't happen.
Or is he confident it's not going to happen?
I don't think it happens.
I think Bob needs a fight like this, though, because I think the reaction he was getting from this Horn fight, and we've discussed it the last couple of weeks, like boxing over here is so big, Richard Schaefer wanted to get involved in the British scene, and it would make sense for Bob to do over here, because I think...
it makes sense, but whether or not that means it'll happen, I just don't know.
Okay.
But, if it does, I think Pacquiao knocks him out, but, I still think it'd be a good fight.
It'd be a fun fight, because they've got history.
Be interesting early.
Two guys that's got speed. It's definitely a good fight.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Any other news you guys want to discuss?
Breaking news that I just heard. I heard Danny Jacobs is 175 pounds and Golovkin is 165. That could be big, guys. I think it says a lot about Danny's discipline and just about his seriousness about the game of boxing. What do you guys think? Do you guys feel the same way?
What's weird though? Every time you have these 30-day weigh-ins, his opponent is always within that 10%, and Golovkin's always just close to his fighting weight. So it's crazy how dedicated he is.
Yeah, I agree, man. He's just disciplined.
But has Danny ever had any issue making weight?
No, I'm being facetious.
It means nothing. Yeah, it means nothing, doesn't it?
I'm being totally flippant.
No, I gathered.
I've just encountered. I've just encountered a lot of people do fucking segments on this shit. I'm like, bro, are you serious?
You serious?
They're gonna make their fucking weight and they're gonna fight. So just don't worry about it.
And they'll both be in good condition, and there'll be no complaints. Whatever.
Yeah,
happens.
especially with Chris Algieri at the helm of Danny's nutrition. Are you kidding me, Leon? He's gonna be in the best shape of his life.
The caged avocado, but look, hey,
He's gonna have his avocados. He's gonna have his colors in his food. That's one thing that Algieri always says. You gotta have the right colors. I'm telling you guys, you gotta have the right colors in your food. To be properly hydrated and to be well nourished, you gotta have the right colors. Oh, this motherfucker, man.
Have you ever been a nutritionist, Dan?
Absolutely not.
Then
I'm eating
really,
fried
Dan,
chicken.
unless you've done it,
Yeah.
I really don't want to hear from you.
I'm eating fried chicken as we speak with random barbecue sauce. So
You know what Paul Smith always says? If you haven't been in the ring, you can't comment. And that goes to every trade, unfortunately.
Well, what if you take one of those fitness classes? Does that count?
Boxer size.
No, Daniel. No, it doesn't.
Okay. All right. Cool, guys. Anything else? Anything else on the news waves?
Not that I've seen.
Yeah, I've not got anything else either.
There has to be. I feel like we're missing something kind of big. But I got one. Peterbiev.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
This is
we'll talk about
That's
that.
a good fight.
Oof, I can't wait, man. I think I'm gonna go to that fight, guys. It's in Miami, and I've never been to Miami, Florida, so I definitely want to go. But regarding the fight itself, oof, that's a good one. I mean, I got Beterbiev, honestly, but I think it's gonna be a pretty good fight, man. Because I think the other guy's pretty tough, and
Sullivan
Beterbiev,
Barrera.
like I had no idea that Beterbiev got dropped in his last fight. Is that true?
Not his last, but there was a fight against an American dude where he kind of got a flash knockdown. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kidding, man. As I said that was a stupid thing to say. I hate it when people bring up like, oh, but he got knocked down once in his career, right? Therefore, he's chinny. No, that's stupid. I think Beterbiev is probably going to knock him out like he did Campillo and Tavares Cloud, but maybe just like in a longer fashion. But it's still a damn good fight, though, right? Because with Beterbiev, after starting off so hot against Tavares and against Campillo, just his competition has been so lackluster. I'm really excited that he's getting back on track.
Yeah, it's a proper step up as well.
If he walks through Sullivan Barrera, man, that's a statement.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, hell yeah. I mean, Ward couldn't do it. That's for damn sure. So,
I
yeah.
think.
And you got
plus,
to give it to Pereira. He'll take a fight, won't he?
Yeah.
yeah.
He steps up.
And he's, who's he signed by? By Duva?
I think Barrera's with Duvet. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he's with the main events.
See, that's how you get praised for taking fights, Kel. You fight Ward, then that other good guy, and then Better Beast. Then you get praised.
Yeah, Shabransky, right?
Yeah.
That was a good fight as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's a proper run, isn't it, that?
Just on tactics wise, if I was Barrera, I would just kind of wait it out for the first 4 rounds. Let fucking just get a tight guard. Don't let anything come through. No body shots, and because I think Beterbiev just accident waiting to happen in the sense of I can see him blowing himself out in 4 or 5 rounds and then just getting starched.
Yeah, but that's such a risky proposition, though.
It is,
Yeah,
but I
you
think
You know what I mean?
You don't want to run
it's-
too much, do you?
Exactly. It's like you let's say he doesn't gas. Well, I mean, let's say he gasses out late, in the 8th or 9th round. I mean, you still have to run away for 8 to 9 rounds. And that's such a tall task because you can just see how menacing of a puncher Beterbiev is. He's just so compact. That's why, honestly, like Beterbiev versus Ward, I think that's a 50-50 fight. Just because that inside clinching and all that bullshit that Ward does on the inside, that's not going to work against Beterbiev because he needs no room to generate power.
no, that's true. But I disagree, Dan. I don't think you have to run from him. I think you can kind of smother him and just stay very close to him where his shots are kind of going behind you and let him kind of waste his energy and maybe clinch now and again. I think there's definitely a way to frustrate Beterbiev.
Like I hear you, and I think like abstractly speaking and on a theoretical level, like that makes sense. But I feel like you have to be like a pound for pound level type of fighter to pull that kind of shit off.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's
Like to me, like that kind of game plan is stuff that like Floyd can do, and maybe Ward like back in his prime could do. But a guy like Barrera, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's
I don't think Barrera's all that good, honestly. Against Ward, he looked pretty bad, honestly, in that fight. So I think it's kind of an easy fight for Beterbiev, but that's just because I rate Beterbiev so highly. A lot of people I've heard said this is like a 50-50 fight, or like it's a lot closer than I think. But I don't know, man. I just don't think Barrera's all that good.
No, that's a really good point. Leon, do you see it as a 50-50 fight, or do you think it's easy work?
Not easy work, but I think he'll stop him, but I think it's a tougher fight than just walking out there and walking through him. I think he'll give him a good fight, but I think he stops him late. Maybe I don't know. He might even stop him early. He punches so hard.
Exactly.
You're in danger all the time, aren't you?
Like when Beterbiev fought Campillo, I think Campillo and this version of Barrera, they're very similar level fighters. And that was Beterbiev's like 10th fight.
I don't know.
I think
Campillo. Campillo was more washed out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I agree with that. But I'm just saying, like, that was Beterbiev's 10th fight. And again, Beterbiev is one of those guys like Golovkin where he just accidentally knocks people out. He just has that kind of power. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty scary, man. Like, I don't know if it was Campillo or what other guy, but he had a guy on the ropes, and then he just took like a really short step to his right, and then he just threw this fucking right hand of a bomb, like without even like loading up really, and that kind of shit is frightening to me.
The funny thing is as well, like, he doesn't rotate a lot of the time, and so a lot of his big punches are arm punches, and to generate that type of power is pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, it's like Golovkin style, man. It's just, he's a beast.
Yep. Anything else?
Nah.
Just quickly, like, I've seen bits and bobs and during the last 2 weeks with Lomachenko and Sosa, and it's a shame that fight's not going to be unification, because Sosa was ordered to, fight Corrales to, lighten up this WBA situation, so would only be one champion. And it's weird that they seem to do it when there's other big fights, but when there's no big fights, it's okay to have like 3 champs: your super champ, your regular, and your interim. But yeah, so but Lomachenko was praising him for taking this shot, because he said that a lot of guys at 126 and 130 are just running away from the fight, and props to Sosa for actually wanting to fight him. So it's a shame that people don't want to fight Lomachenko unless they're getting paid a shitload of money. But I like Sosa, man. He's a guy that comes forward. He fights anyone, and it's definitely a good fight. Whether the fact that his title's not on the line doesn't really matter anymore. Especially, we say it time and time again, titles and boxing are bullshit now. So at least we're getting a good fight between Sosa and Lomachenko.
Yeah, it's a good fight.
I mean, do you guys think it's a mismatch?
I think it's easy work for Lomachenko. On paper, it's not a mismatch because Sosa is a tough guy. But I think his style kind of lends to Lomachenko, because I think he's just going to be spinning around him quite easily.
Yep, I hear you.
But you got to say it's a good fight though on paper, isn't it? Because Sosa's had some good wins, and he's up for the fight. So it's still a good fight in that division.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
That's just how good Loma is, man. Like, Loma's so good that when I talk to his haters, they're like, "Oh, but why isn't he fighting Mikey at 135, huh?" I'm like, he's at a different weight class, buddy. Like, maybe that's why. So, like, by people trying to shit on Loma, they sometimes expose just how good he is and how far advanced he is for kind of his record and his experience thus far. Because his 11th fight now? I mean, the guy is a beast.
Yep. All right, let's move on. Preview this upcoming week. Quite a lot of boxing. We'll probably get to it in a minute, Leon, but you're going to the card on Box Nation on the Friday at York Hall.
Yep, I am.
So hopefully you meet some of the coalition boys up there. I know some of the listeners.
Yeah, a few people going. Yeah, it should be good. Boy Jones fighting.
Yep.
Oh shit!
Area.
Do you know who's going to the fight, Leon? From the coalition gang?
There's a couple of people who listen to the show on Twitter are going, so I'm going to meet up with them at the bar. Yeah, it should be good.
Have you been York Hall before?
Yeah, I've been quite a few times. It's hot. It's not a good place in the summer. It's boiling.
It's hot and steamy.
But yeah, no, really hot. But yeah, no, it's good.
Yep. And
I used to live close to there when I lived in Hackney.
You lived all over the place, man.
A few places.
Chingford, Hackney, everywhere.
Yeah.
All right. Also, on the Saturday, we have a card in Hull, a Sky card. Leon, I was thinking, is that Sky's, Matchroom's own first card of the year? I was trying to think. I know they had the Frampton fight and they had
their first UK card.
Yeah, but I think that's their Matchroom's first UK card, and it's pretty a shit card, to be honest.
It's not great, is it?
No, we'll get to that. But let's start off with the States. Wilder, the guy that his opponents always seem to get caught for drugs, man. What's going on? It's crazy, man. The amount of opponents of his that get popped. But he's fighting Gerald Washington. I think Gerald Washington's awful, to be honest. He's got a slightly better gas tank to David Price, but that's not saying much. After like the second,
You think he's better than Charles Martin? The fact that you have to pause says everything I need to know, man.
Exactly.
He's better than Charles. He's better than Charles Martin.
Is he better than Brazil?
Did they even fight?
I think.
Didn't they fight?
No, I think they were gonna fight, but it didn't happen or something. I don't think they did fight. No. I think they've got like a common opponent. I think they both fought. Did they both fight Fred Cassie? No, he didn't. No.
This shit is
Somehow
crazy.
their names are linked.
How is this guy? He fought the Ragu fighter, Bermain. He fought that guy like 10 fights ago, and that was his big coming out party. And he hasn't fought a single good guy since. What the fuck is this?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, man! Like I don't even want to analyze this fight, man. He's fighting a fucking football player, for crying out loud. This guy went to USC to play American football. All right, so he's just started boxing like 3-4 years ago, probably. And this guy's a WBC world champion of the world, man. Oh, I don't know why I said world twice, but you get my point. He's the champion, and he's fighting a fucking converted football player. 8 or 10 fights after he got his quote unquote belt. It's a fucking joke, man. At least Joshua is younger, and he hasn't had as many fights, and he's just knocking the fuck out of his opponents in more impressive fashion than Wilder. But to me, Wilder's just like it's just a joke, and I know a lot of it isn't his fault with the drug tests that you just mentioned, Cam, and his broken hand against Areola. But I mean, it is what it is, like Floyd would say. You know, it's just at some point it just becomes inexcusable.
Yeah.
Gerald Washington drew with Amir Mansour and beat Eddie Chambers.
I mean, that sounds okay, but if you've seen him fight, he's not a good fighter. Yeah, I mean, Eddie Chambers is a cruiserweight, and Amir Mansour is like 45 years old, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He should win easily, shouldn't he, really?
Oh, my goodness. Absolutely.
If he doesn't, it's a
bad luck. But like I mentioned, though, earlier, again, like, at least with Joshua, he sparks his opponents out. You know, with Wilder against Areola and that other guy, the drummer boy, whatever his name is, like, he extends these fights out and he gets clipped and he doesn't look as good in the process, you know?
Yep. But fuck this fight anyway. It's a shit fight. But there's a great...
Yeah, fuck this card, man.
No.
It's good fight.
Yeah. Me and Naoto mentioned it a few weeks ago. Jared Hurd versus Tony Harrison. Now it's been upgraded to the vacant IBF title because Jamal has vacated his 154 belt. So this is a really good fight.
I actually like Tony Harrison, but I think Jared Hurd is Jared Hurd is nasty, man. Some of the punches, especially his uppercut, his right uppercut, that thing is nasty.
Totally agree.
Yeah. Who are you picking?
I'm picking Hurd, but I want to see if like Harrison can take him a bit late. But even then, Harrison, his own gas tank is a bit questionable because of that fight against
Willie Nelson. He got iced late, didn't he?
Yeah, he did really well, and then just kind of just ran out of steam, and then got iced in the 9th round. So that's quite interesting to see what happens if the fight goes late for both guys. So I'm really looking forward to this fight.
I think Hurd looks real good. Will look real good.
Yeah,
I think he does a number on him.
Harrison looked good against Rabchenko, but Rabchenko was fucking terrible, man.
And it was a way back there, wasn't it?
That was on the undercard of Frampton Santa Cruz 1, I think it was. Last summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was a terrible fight. Rabchenko was awful, man. He was just coming forward sloppy, and Harrison was just lateral movement, just picking him off.
Oh, right, yeah. So I was looking at the wrong. List. Yeah, okay.
But yeah, really.
So he had a few fights since he got iced.
Yeah, he kind of regrouped a bit.
Oh yeah, and Hurd beat Donut Dan, didn't he?
Yeah. Donut stepped up to 54 and got iced.
Yeah. That's a good fight, but I like Hurd for that. But going quickly saying that's interesting that Charlo's gone up to 160, isn't it?
I think it's inevitable because you've been saying it for a long time. He's massive at the weight as well. So I just want to see what he does next, man. Because if he fights good guys at 160, even though 160's dried out a bit, it's, you know, he impressed me so much against J-Rock that I just want him to see in good fights at 160.
Yeah, so do I. He should just fight Golovkin straight away.
Yeah, to me, he's a better version of Danny Jacobs.
Yeah.
So, they actually fight very similar, in my opinion. They both have kind of technical flaws in that they're very upright, but to me, Charlo's more athletic and he has a more broad variety of punches than Danny does.
Well, let's hope that Golovkin doesn't do anything stupid again, like fucking fight a welterweight and actually calls him out straight. You know, if he beats Jacobs, calls out him straight away. If he's a new kid in the division.
Yeah.
He can't be hanging around any longer, can he?
Golovkin?
He wants all the belts though, so he's got to fight Billy Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Billy
Joe.
And he's got to get the IBO belt too. Whoever holds the IBO belt.
It's important to get the IBO belt.
Can you imagine if Golovkin's goal was to get every single belt?
He's got the IBO belt.
He
does?
He's already got it, yeah.
He's got it.
He's got to get every single belt out there, like every single one, even like the Japanese Continental belt, the Brooklyn belt,
the Pan American, the Intercontinental, Australasian.
Man, Golovkin is a funny guy, dude. Jeez. Well, any other fights on that card? I know Eric Molina's fighting, right? The drummer boy.
On that card?
Can't wait for that one. Yeah.
Is he? I didn't see that. No, I know Dominic. I know Dominic Brazil's on that card. He's fighting his opponent. I looked him up today. He's 17-0. His name. I apologize for mispronouncing this. I think it's Zugbe Uganon. He's a Polish black dude living in Vegas, but his last 7 fights have been in New Zealand. So it's very weird geographical stuff going on there. But he's fighting Dominic Brazil.
He's a massive puncher, though.
Yeah, but he might be, but who's he fought, though? That's the thing.
Right. I'm picking him to ice Brazil.
You just want to see Brazil iced, but
no, I just see the ice in him.
Jorge Lara's on that card as well, but I don't know. I know Naota's high on him, but he's fighting a guy with 7 losses and it's 8 rounder, so don't know what they're doing with Lara. I think they're taking him very, very slow.
I just think it's the last name, man. He just got cursed.
If you have that name, then it's all over.
Yeah, they just won't give you good fights.
All right, let's quickly move on to this whole card. All I'm talking about is Gavin McDonnell because Luke Campbell's opponent, 6 losses, don't know where he's fighting him. No one cares about Tommy Coyle anymore. I know Ryan Burnett's on there as well, so I like Burnett. But really, it's about Gavin McDonnell fighting Ray Vargas for the vacant Super Bantamweight WBC title. Watched a bit of Ray Vargas today. He impressed me, man. He's got kind of body type like the twin McDonnell brothers, kind of long and stringy, very long arms. But Gavin is pretty shit. I know, Leon, you kind of agree with me. The only way I think he would win this fight if he did the switcheroo with his brother Jamie, and Jamie fought for him, and maybe Jamie would have the skill set to beat Vargas. But Gavin, I think, is gonna get caught by Vargas. Vargas, from what I saw, is got really good backhand, really good body work as well. For those with long arms, he really digs in the body shots. So I think he'll slowly break Gavin down and stop him.
Yeah, I haven't seen much of Vargas, but by all accounts, from what I've heard, he looks good, and obviously his record says he's a puncher. So it'd be interesting. But Big 20 Gav is just a bit of a kind of carbon copy of his brother, like we were saying off air cam, but he's just not as technically gifted, is he? Not a smooth a puncher, his hands aren't as quick, but he'll be there all night. He's got a good gas tank on him like his brother, but I think he's out of his depth. I think he'll be out of his depth against most world champions because I just don't think he's that level.
Yeah, there was a fight in Leeds a couple of years ago where I thought he lost it and he was lucky to get the win. So I agree. I think he's kind of British, maybe European level, but nowhere near world level.
But this goes to prove again. It's like this is what you get for your free Sky. I don't, this is not going to get any casual watching boxing on a Saturday evening, is it? This is what I mean about lowering the standards, and then every pay-per-view looks good, doesn't it? It looks worth paying for when you serve this shit up.
Yeah, and I was saying before, it's the first card of the year, even though March for Matchroom is really good, we might see Hate iced, or we might see Bellew iced, and
but if you put this card, it's very cynical. You got this card coming on before, like a week before Bellew and Hay, and people are gonna watch this and think, that was all right, and then you'll see all the WWE stupidity that's going on for this Bellew fight. No wonder the fucking casuals buy it.
Yeah.
Because it looks mental compared to watching this card, doesn't it?
But, Leon, I don't know if it is on there, I'm not checked, but, Sky have got that Sky Mix channel now where it's kind of free to air some of the sports that they show, and sometimes F1 is on Sky 1 and stuff like that. Do you think this type of whole card should be on that, so they kind of maybe bring in the wider audience that don't maybe have Sky Sports and don't subscribe to it?
This card?
No. This whole card.
You don't want to put people through this shit.
I don't know, I just think
you should make us hardcores pay for this and give away the Bellew for free.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah,
honestly, I'm not being. Honestly, look at this card. It's poor, isn't it? Luke Campbell. I saw him doing some training on Twitter with that Cuban coach, and he just didn't look any different. Getting hit with two big black dildos. I don't know when they came into fucking boxing recently. Have you seen those sticks they kind of spar with?
Yeah, it's not a good look, that.
It looks fucking ridiculous. And what are you training for with that? I mean, that's not reenacting anything you hope's can actually happen in the fight, isn't it? Because otherwise, things have gone horribly wrong. But no, it's just a poor card. I mean, what else was there to say?
Yeah, I think there's nothing. Let's move on. All right, our boy Jones, you're going to be in the house. Do you know much about his opponent? I don't know, to be honest.
I've saw him fight Jupp, and he went 10 rounds with Jupp, and lost. But so he's workmanlike. He doesn't punch he's not a big puncher. I think he's got like a 7% knockout ratio. But he also got iced. The fights he stepped up, he's lost. He got beaten by that Andy Townend. He's a kind of British level guy. He got KO'd in 1 round. But Boy Jones is still. This is a Southern Area title fight cam. He's a way off. No, it's a good fight for him.
It's good, man. He's got a good fan base as well. Like, he sells tickets well, and you've met him. He's a proper down to earth guy, and
really nice kid.
Yeah, it's good to see a guy like that stepping up and just trying to find his feet slowly. He's not got the amateur experience, but he fights so well, man. He fights like a pro, and we're all high on him, man. So if he's listening, good luck to him. Hope he gets past this test and on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, I know he went out trading in Spain for a week. He seems to be really on it. And this guy, if he beats this guy, then you know that you're heading towards English level. I know he started right low down, but it's the right progression. He's fought guys who Boy Jones would want to fight soon. He's fought in a higher level, but lost.
Leon, when you met him, did you give him any advice not to join the MGM/MGK stable?
I didn't mention or talk about that, no, because I guess he's got a lot of fellow stable mates, hasn't he, on Fox Station? So I didn't want to walk down that path straight away.
All right, that's fair enough.
But I know he wasn't there. I know it wasn't there.
All right. So yeah, Leon, hope you have a good night on Friday. Hope it's
Oh, it'll be really good. There's some other interesting fights. Quite a lot of young fighters. That
Harley
what's
Benz
his
on their
name?
pro debut.
Harley Benz. Yeah, that's his debut fight. So that'll be interesting to watch.
I've seen Sanjeev Sahota fight a few times. He's very wild, gets caught a lot, but every fight I've seen him in is very fun to watch. So that'll probably be good. He's fighting a journeyman with a lot of losses, but I bet you it's a war, Leon. I bet that's fight of the night.
All right. Well, I'm going to be there. I'm going to go for the whole lot. It starts at 6 or something, so that's not super early. So I was going to go from the beginning, try and watch as many fights as possible. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't been there in a while, so it should be good.
Excellent, man. Have a good one. And just lastly, a card that I only noticed last week when I was looking through the ESPN boxing schedule. Lucien Bute is fighting on Friday in Quebec against Aldo Alvarez. Did you guys know about this fight?
I think I'd heard about it, but it hadn't really registered.
It's
I hadn't seen it on any schedules over here.
Really under the radar, isn't it?
But that's a final eliminator, isn't it, for Adonis?
I'm not sure. It's not saying anything on box, right?
That's what I heard. Maybe on one of the, I heard it somewhere.
It's a good fight, man. Sure. I've seen Aldo Alvarez fight a few times, and I've been quite critical. I think he's quite basic. He keeps just doing the same punches, the same combinations. He doesn't mix it up enough. He's solid, but there's nothing about him that really kind of lasts in your memory. Like when you think of him, there was nothing in the fights that I've seen that have imprinted into my brain about, oh, he's really good at this or he's really good at that. He's just kind of like just a basic kind of plodder, and I don't know. I actually think
he better hope he knocks Bute out though.
Well, the thing is, like Bute, if you look at his last few performances, his work rate's been good, man. Against like De Gale, he was really good. Against Jack, he was decent. Whether or not he was juicing or not, who knows? But I'd actually pick Bute over Alvarez. As I just said.
But they want that fight though. That's still mega bucks in Canada, isn't it? You would think. Bute Stevenson.
Yeah, that's a massive fight over there. And I think that will happen as well. I think Bute will get past Alvarez. I don't think he'll stop him, but I think he'll decision him, and that Bute Stevenson fight will eventually happen. But
the worst thing about that is I think Stevenson would spectacularly ice Bute, and then it just keeps him further out of the conversation for the other fights, doesn't it?
It does, but I don't know about you guys, but Stevenson has become so irrelevant these days. It's like you don't even put him into conversations of fights at light heavy because he doesn't want to fight anyone with a pulse.
It's so annoying. I mean, I know he's a despicable human being, from his history, but you still want to see that one. I still want to see that left hand, that one weapon against Ward and Kovalev. But I think it's getting too late now. But you still want to see it because, I mean, he's a devastating puncher, whatever anyone says.
I'm a big fan. That year he had when he had those 4 fights, man, that was an excellent year. He was fight of the year for me, but since then he's just gone so downhill in his choice of opponents and his choice of,
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I'm not making excuses for him. He's been horrible, but he's still got one of the most exciting weapons in boxing. When he lands that punch clean, people get, de-wired, don't they?
Yep. Dan, are you still there?
Yep.
What's your thoughts on this Bute Alvarez fight?
It's a domestic level fight that I don't give a fuck. I don't give 2 fucks about, honestly. I don't really rate Alvarez that highly, and I don't care about Bute, man.
Do you think Canadian Jose will be in the house? But he doesn't live in Quebec, does he?
No, he doesn't. No, I don't think it's not a sexy enough of a fight for him.
They're not superstars.
Yeah, superstars. He only likes guys like Adrien Broner, who are pound for pound. So, fuck that guy anyways. I told him to jump on today and call in, but he didn't even try.
It's alright. Maybe work interrupted him.
No. He's just no excuses.
Oh, you're breaking up a bit, Dan. But just a quick one. The other day I was reading up on Fonfara, and I read he left his old trainer and he's joined up with Virgil Hunter. And I just think it's a weird mix.
Yeah.
Like Adrian Fonfara and Virgil
that was a long
Hunter.
time ago, man.
I didn't even know about that until recently.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird, isn't it? Like Danny Jacobs is using Abel as like a co-trainer. Not Abel, but for Virgil. I'm sorry. I get those Christian names confused all the time, like Abel, Cain, Virgil. You know, but nonetheless, they're all kind of douchebags in their own rights. But I don't know. It does seem like a really weird mix. Like even when Khan first joined Virgil and Abner Mares, it just seems like these guys all or gravitate towards Virgil for some reason. I don't even know what Virgil does as a trainer. Like I don't even know what his style is, honestly.
You know what the thing is? I think they just think
sweet nothings in here.
Dan, sorry to interrupt you. I think they just think that he's like a defensive god of coaching. So it's like anyone that got knocked out just kind of ran to Virgil to help him with their defense. But
you know what? That's such a good point, Cam. Because think about it. No, that's a fantastic point. Because this is going to blow your mind away. Think about the guys that went to Virgil. All right, Amir Khan violently knocked the fuck out. Abner Mares violently knocked the fuck out. Peter Kid Chocolate violently knocked the fuck out. And Danny Jacobs, violently knocked the fuck out. A couple of years ago, but still, that's a fast.
And
I feel like somebody should write like a thesis paper on that.
Yeah, and Fafaro just got knocked out last year by Joe Smith, and he's gone to him now as well. So, if you get knocked out, call Virgil. All right, Dan, Leon, you guys got anything else?
No, nothing I can think of.
Dan?
Nope. I feel like this weekend's is just a lot of it's a high volume of fights, right? But nothing really spectacular.
But average fights, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. When's the next big fight?
The week.
Is it the week after? Danny Thurman.
Yeah, and
Good
then
stuff.
we got Hey Bellew on the same night in the UK. So the 4th of March is a great night.
Well, Hey Bellew for other reasons, right?
Yeah, because one guy, two guys that I don't like, and hopefully one might get started. So I'm really looking forward to that. Even though it's a mismatch, I don't know, Leon. I'm really looking forward to it.
You're on your own there, mate.
It's just me then.
That's so funny.
I'll be interested on the night when it's happening, but I am not watching. Yeah. I'm not letting any of this shit permeate into my life, Cam. It's not healthy.
You see, that's so fascinating to me, guys, because Cam, you don't give a fuck about the Canelo Chavez fight, and Leon does to some extent. And with this situation, it's a complete opposite. That's very interesting to me.
Yeah, that is a good point. Maybe because it's a UK fight, possibly. Especially, I think it's more the fact that Tony Bellew is very highly likely to get knocked out, which would make me very happy.
Yeah, I think that's it. But, I think it just proves that kind of distance is definitely a help in these things, isn't it? Like, a fight coming from the States, it still has... You can avoid some of the shit that comes with it, right? Yeah. Where you can enjoy it. Americans often say they love stuff over here with Eddie Hearn, but all the Brits can't stand it. Yeah. It's that kind of bit of distance is healthy, I think.
That's fair.
That's a good point.
I need to move to a country where they've banned boxing and watch it from a distance.
Norway used to ban boxing, but it's only just recently come back.
Yeah. Nowhere's safe.
That'd be a nice country to live in.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys. Let's call it a night.
Well, Cam, what about the big announcement? Like our Coalition Appreciation Night. Let the fans know.
Yep. We're going to have that very soon at Nando's near you. Chicken for everyone. Peri all
just
around.
Being a little bit modest. We are going to do a big Coalition Appreciation quite soon, guys. So just keep an ear out on that. A lot of big names in the works. It's going to happen quite soon. Fingers crossed.
Who's going to be the famous boxer that we get?
Hopefully Scott Quigg, but I'm working on it.
He's too busy with his new affiliation in LA.
Yeah. Learning to surf.
Maybe his mom then.
His best mate.
Oh, fuck me. Yep, that's it.
All right, thank you, man.
Great show, boys.
I had a good laugh tonight, guys. Thank you for this show. Quickly before we go, you guys that listen hear me mention Scorsese quite often. He's a good friend of mine. Before we became friends, I was a big fan of his. He's been a musician and actor in the UK for many years. He's just dropping a new project very soon. It's out next week on his birthday coincides with his birthday. So even if you don't support the project, even though you should, it's very cheap. It's an EP, 6 tracks, it's £7. But even if you don't support that, just wish him a happy birthday on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. He's one of the nicest guys you will ever meet. Very humble. Doesn't think he's up there with anyone. He's just a grinder. Just keeps making his music. Yep, he's got this.
Solid dude, man.
Yeah, like Leon, you've met him. Chew met him.
Yeah.
Joe met him when we went to the Scott Quigg Carl Frampton fight in Manchester. And yeah, he's just a humble guy. And the EP is out next week on the 27th. You can pre-order it now. Oh, sorry, you can pre-order it tomorrow from a new website he set up called scores.co.uk. So it's scorz.co.uk. There's other stuff you can buy. There's snapback caps and some t-shirts as well. So definitely try and support. I'm going to play one of the tracks from the EP. It's called Deep Space Illa, and I'm going to play it now. I want to thank everybody that jumped on the show, Leon and Dan, all the people in the
Thanks,
chat.
Cam.
I'll give them a quick mention. Well, most of them are left mine now, so I won't give them a mention. Thank you guys. We'll be back.
Hey, Cam,
next.
does he sell any short shorts?
No,
No, that Scores Ed website?
no short shorts there.
He's above that. Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but seriously, hey, Cam, you remember when you flew out to LA? One of the first things, well, not one of the first, but the gift you got me was, I don't know if it was just a full-on album or the full-on LP, the nice gift bag that you got me of Scores, and I mean, I still have that in my car right now. So I'm actually looking at it right now and you speak, so.
Is it like
Seriously,
broken and cracked and everything like
no,
being damaged?
Come on, man. Come on. Don't do that to me, Cam.
Yeah,
No, but seriously, shout out to Scores. I haven't met him, obviously, because I haven't had the opportunity to fly out there and meet him, but, Cam, just speaks so highly of the dude. So, if somebody's solid in Cam's eye, I mean, he's a solid guy, period. So, happy birthday to him. Again, he sounds like just a really, really good ground level guy. So, and it's pretty awesome that he supported us for so long, because I know he listens to the show all the time, and that's pretty special that you can create those kind of connections just through social media. People that you've never met before. It's pretty fascinating and a really kind of awesome experience for all of us.
Hey. Agree with everything you said, Dan. Thank you. We'll be back next week. This is Deep Space Illa off the Scores Sazy EP, Scores Illa. Peace.
You're listening to the Boxing Coalition.
Set the stage on fire. I came in the game without my name on a flyer and snatched the mic wire. Spat the rhymes tighter than a rapper that just got paid. I was a big-headed fat little tiger and walked home without a coat. Raindrops splashed my face like this pumpkin will change to a coach. I didn't come for fun and games, I came for your throat. I came full circle, now I'm back in the same boat. I guess it's all I know. I walk the invisible path like Indiana Jones with his eyes closed. The only thing I figured, there's no treasure at the end. I'd like to thank everybody, it was a pleasure to attend this meeting we call life bittersweet, but it's all nice. As long as we don't die inside, it's alright. There's no burden on your shoulders that you can't take. Even with the weight of the world, your soul can't break. I know I don't feel your pain, but every day I'm crying in my brain. And there's a billion people who are just the same, who wake up to the Shakespeare tragedy and face the reality of falling in love with agony.
You never look at yourself in the mirror and say, you let you down. You're not brave enough. You want to put it on somebody else. The reason why I'm not successful is because of my boss. Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and said, I'm not getting up on time. I'm not going to work on time. I let me down.
To the Boxing Coalition.
I know life is sacred. If I could build a spaceship, I point a laser back at the earth, then I'd erase it. That's what I call a painkiller. Take off and watch the flames in the mirror. Have you ever watched somebody you love suffer to the point they say if they didn't have kids they wouldn't live? Just crawl in a ball in the corner and die. It's like torture to the mind in this flawless design. Or is it man-made chemicals? I guess searching for a reason is feeble. The battle of good and evil. Imagine if none of that existed and we were just shaped to think that life was meant to be peaceful. A sense of justice. We all love a happy ending. Well, that's the move. There's no point in pretending. I think I've seen too much or maybe lost hope. If not, yo, I'll meet you at the crossroads. Just bring a box of pills and we can suffer together and show scars and die in each other's arms. So calm, the whole world rotates to a whole. Stars fade away, the sky rolls up like a scroll and
How do you get money to do what you love? You don't. what you do is you position yourself to succeed. So for example, if you're doing something else and you want to do this thing you love, you do it after hours. You work 9 to 6, you get home, you kiss the dog, and you go to town.
You're listening to the Boxing Coalition.
My mind is lost, your best men, I'll rhyme them off. You're Hyman rough, I'm Michael, the final boss. You do the sign of the cross, then you climb across. If you slip, try your cloth and wipe the moss. Eddie Murphy, don't spill the drink. Remember me, I was the weakest link. Listen for every kid who sneakers stink and teachers think they can't see a decent thing. And brainwashers like bleach in the sink. All we got is bars and beats, skills that they don't teach. How you gonna put an MC on your CV? So we're trapped trying to impress the man who invests in the land and sells death in a can. Shape shift like Zygon, rearrange ions. My body is a pylon, my mind is a time bomb. Where's all the time gone? Inhale, exhale, but nobody knows on which breath they will die on.
You just listened to the Boxing Coalition.